here's here's the next piece of what we're going to talk about is the actual marketing of your workshops. So marketing is really all about testing. Okay, I'm going to show you time-tested strategies that we're currently using, but realize, if you're doing something new, you're going to need to test, and you're going to need to try different things in your market too. Like, we don't do the same thing in every single demographic. We have clients in downtown Chicago, and then we have clients in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Town of 15,000 people. So there's every market is different. The thing to remember is always the ROI. Workshop marketing is going to give you one of the best ROIs. Always looking at your cost per lead, and ultimately, how many people are showing, and then how many people actually sign up, for care. So if you scheduled 2 new patients, 5 new patients, 10 new patients, from a workshop, was it worth it? Well, how much money did you spend on the marketing, right? If you have a budget of $1,000 that you spent on marketing of the workshop, and you attracted 1 new patient, you will have more than paid for it, because your average cost of a case is going to be, or value of a case is going to be somewhere around $3,000, $4,000, or should be somewhere around there. So just wanted to share that information first. So here's the basic mechanic. Now, this is really simple, right? I'll make myself smaller here. So here, in essence, what you need is a landing page, right? You need to send people somewhere. Could you do a Facebook events ad, or a Facebook event? Yes, you could. You could send people to that. And however, Facebook events don't work nearly as well as sending someone to a place where they have to put in their name and email information. Could you do a Facebook lead form ad? Yes, you could. And you can connect autoresponders to that too. However, those types of ads typically are attracting lower quality leads. When someone has to click off of Facebook, they have to go to a website outside of it, and then they have to put in their name and email, and then click that they want to do it. These are extra steps that they have to take. It makes them more qualified, versus on Facebook, you have a lead form ad. Immediately their information's in it. All they have to do is click one button, right? There's very low barrier to actually entering, and getting into your funnel, right? However, a landing page is going to be different. Now, we used to recommend Eventbrite, and you can certainly use Eventbrite. You can continue to use Eventbrite. However, it's not going to be the best strategy to get the best results with your Facebook ads. And that's because of the major changes that happened with iOS 14 Apple update back in April of 2021. And when they took away some key factors, such as requiring that you verify domains. So because you can't verify Eventbrite's domain, okay? So because of that, that means that Facebook won't allow you to perform certain ads, such as conversion campaigns, which are going to be the best type of campaign to get these types of leads. Okay, so because of that, it really affects attribution and the ability for Facebook to use their algorithm to show the ads to the most qualified people and get the best results for you. Can it work? Yes. Is it the best approach? No. Will it cost you more money? Yes. Okay, so the best approach is to use your own landing page. Okay, that could be a landing page on your website. However, if it's on your website, then people may take a deeper look and be like, oh wait, who is this? Who's giving this class? And they may decide that you're not qualified just based upon your website, even what your website looks like. So a couple of things you can do to build your own landing pages. You can use something like ClickFunnels. There's lead pages. There's different things out there that also have the ability to build autoresponders too, collect the leads, have the opt-in, all that kind of stuff. Not sure about the text messaging options and how they integrate. You might have that ability through some of those platforms, or you might have to integrate it with something else, which can be done. But this is the basic formula. Okay, you got a landing page. So let me just I'll show you one of ours here. So this is an example of a landing page here. So we have seating is limited, in-person event. That's really important right now, especially in some areas. People think that, even if they're not really afraid of COVID, just the public's been conditioned to think that these type of events will be on webinar format. So then we have some of these types of questions here, and then the countdown timer, but also the name, email, phone, and why is this topic important to you? This is one of the most important questions. You absolutely want to have that. And then, again, in person, a little bit more information about why, just some content, telling them more about the event, register now buttons. You got the location, the doctor, all that type of information there. Okay, so that's how what a landing, and even this has a pop-up too. So that's what a landing page should look like. Pretty simple, but you definitely need to have something like that that's going to tell people more about what's going on. So you have that. The next thing you need is then obviously Facebook ads. You could use other types of social media. We're testing with other platforms too. We still primarily use Facebook because it's where the most people are at. Yes, people are on Instagram, but people don't click off of Instagram as often. It costs more money to advertise on Instagram versus Facebook. And then once they're opted in, then they should begin that series of pre-event email and text message reminders to build rapport, and also to invite people into to then also after the workshop, get them to the next workshops. Okay, so this is really simple, right? Landing page, ads going to it. They get the email and SMSs. You can add a phone call to them if you want to verify, just to maybe the day before to confirm their attendance as well. You don't want to inundate people. We've actually been taking more messages out so that they're not getting inundated. And then they're going to get the autoresponders. And if they didn't show up to the workshop, well, they're going to get invited to the next workshop, right? It's just, so the more leads you get over time, the more these people, maybe they don't come to the first workshop, will come to the second or the third. So pretty simple there. So obviously, we talked about the landing page. You need that. Now we need to look at the actual ads themselves. So let's dive into that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again, hide that one, and share the next one. All right, so let's take a look how to find that one. I got way too many screens, but that's the way it is. All right, so now we're looking at our ads manager, and you can see this is for this month. So far, we've spent $55,000 in advertising. So we've done this. We have a little bit of experience there doing this kind of stuff. So what I wanted to show you was, let's go ahead. Why don't we do this? Let's look at, let's create one from scratch, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through the process, okay? You want to have, and let's make sure I'm showing this. Okay, cool, it's on screen. Okay, so we're gonna do a conversion campaign. First off, if you don't already have a business manager account, you should be using Business Manager. So make sure you get that. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create a sample type of event here. So a conversion campaign. Why conversion campaigns? Because these are going to be people most likely to take action and to buy. Okay, so that's what you want. So we're going to do that. We're going to do continue. And then from there, you're going to name your campaign, sample workshop campaign. I would do something like conversions, to just have a good naming structure. That way you can look back and keep your naming structure as consistent as possible. So let's say 11/15/21 is the date of the event. Okay. I would also put the name of the event. So say this is an NDD. Okay. All right. So all of this stays the same. None of this needs to change. And then right here, you do want to click this campaign budget optimization. Okay. And then you want to put in a lifetime budget. Okay. And this will help Facebook to distribute the campaign budget using their algorithms and some of their unique situations. So as I mentioned before, $850 minimum right now. Keep in mind that number is always going up with inflation. Everything's going up right now. So what I recommend, $850 minimum, but I recommend $1,000 to $1,250, 1,500, depending upon your location and how many people are in your audience. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. So I'm gonna hit next right there. And then we're gonna go to one, you gotta make sure your pixel's in place, that you have your pixel. Okay, so you can watch videos on how to create a pixel and all that sort of stuff. If you're doing ads, you already have a pixel. So you put your pixel there. And we are going to, what we want to do is we want to send people to a website, and the event we want is a purchase. Okay, now we've done testing on this. Okay, we've done testing on these there's different conversion events. You can go for a completed registration, you can go for a lead. And here's what we found. When we go for a lead, the quality of the lead is less, it's lower quality overall. Okay, this is going to be, Facebook's going to send that to someone who is more likely to just kind of interact and like sign up for something free and do that, right? And maybe we've all done this. We've signed up for an email list, but we maybe had no intention of actually following through, or we just didn't even open the email that came to us after. It's going to be a lower quality lead. People more likely to do that. Completed registration is going to be slightly higher, but then the thing you want are people who are more likely to buy and have shown a history of doing so. Okay, so that's who Facebook will start to send that to. Now, right now you can see it says estimated audience size of 259 million to 279 million people. That's too big, right? Because we haven't done any targeting yet. So now set the schedule. We recommend anywhere from 10 to 18 day period. So starting off, I would suggest you do somewhere in between there. So start date, you want to set the start date, set this a little bit in the future because it's going to take you a little bit to create this. This is in the past right now because I need to change that to PM. That's why that popped up. And then, okay, so the event date, I said the 15th. So we would stop it like a couple days before. We normally recommend Wednesdays. So we stop ads typically on the Sunday, sometimes the Monday before. So let's just imagine that's what we're doing right now. And stop it at, say, 10:30 p.m. Okay. Here's some additional options. Let's see, where are those options? Cool, so that's all good there. Now, you might have some saved audiences. Let's imagine we don't have one, so we're going to create a new one. A couple things really important. This needs to be changed. People living on or recently in this location. You want people living in this location. Recently in this location can mean they either just work in that area or they were traveling through on vacation. You don't want to market to those people. You want people living in this location, okay? And then your zip code. So I'm going to use my zip code as an example. All right, so let's do this. Here we go. So that's now that's doing just the zip code. So let's do, here, I'll use my office in San Diego, 6342 Riverdale. There it is. Okay, so there, and it automatically starts out at a 10-mile radius. Now, depending upon your location is going to depend on what your radius should be. Okay, this is San Diego. This is a big area. You can see there's still estimated size, 14 million people. Of course, that's also age 18 to 65. The type of class is going to determine what you want here. So for a class trying to reach parents, and parents who are more likely have the ability to engage and make choices and pay for care and things like that, then I'm going to say, it depends on the region and how many people are in the audience. Typically, we want to do 32, 34, sometimes 30, occasionally 28, depending upon if there aren't as many people in the area, or if it's in more rural areas where people are getting married younger, have kids earlier, then that certainly would make more sense to go younger. So let's just for now just say 30. And then on a class like that, I would typically sometimes up to 52, but really, 48 is more ideal. Now we're in 600,000 range, still way too many. We don't want to go to all genders. We want to go to women. They're the decision makers. Men typically aren't clicking on things or registering for that. And we don't want detailed targeting expansion on. Okay, you want to turn that off. right? So because that's going to send to people now if you're new to marketing and aren't familiar with this, you might want to keep it on and keep it simple, okay? And let Facebook find some additional people for you that might fit what you're looking for. I would also change languages, and then put English if you're doing English. That way people who speak a different language primarily are being taken out. Now let's see what that did to the audience size. It looked like it took out approximately 20,000 people there. 12,000 to 20,000. Okay. So those are some of the things. Now, we haven't looked at detailed targeting and interest here. Now, we have a secret weapon at Waitlist Workshops. We use things called lookalike audiences. Okay, those are our secret weapons, and you can see them right here. All these lookalikes. So if I put in NDD, we have lookalike audiences, and you can create lookalike audiences too. The way you create lookalike audiences are you will want to get all the people who've ever registered for one of your classes, and you will upload that list. Okay, so let's see. I'll show you how to do that actually it's right here. Lookalike audience. You click this. You go in. You'd upload a CSV file of those people. I think it needs to be at least 100. Our list is in the thousands now because we've been doing this so long. So our list is super, super strong. Basically, what happens, Facebook analyzes that list and they look for people just like those people. So because of that, we're able to have really targeted approach, finding people that are most likely interested in this topic. And our lookalike audiences have the lowest cost per lead out of all the other audiences we use. When we've seen that for years. Now, like I said, you can start to create your own and go about it that way. But let's imagine you don't have that yet. Okay, so here's detailed targeting. This is people that have different interests. So we use a couple different ones. We use like a healthy interest. So you can look at people like, let's see, I was going to say, you don't want to do something like this though. Watch this. You don't want to put yoga. Okay, here's why. You see how many people are in that audience? That's 450 million people. That's not going to be very specific if you just put yoga. Or if you mixed yoga with a bunch of different things, because see, it didn't even change the audience size. So here's what you want to do instead is actually first turn this off. That will change the size. Okay, so let's just take yoga out, see what it did. So see that it did decrease it, but not significantly. You're looking for audience size typically between 15 to 35,000 people, maybe more, but that's where we found the sweet spot to be. So let's do some interest. Let's do organic. Let's just type in that. Now organic, has 3 million people in that category. That dropped it considerably, right? So we need to add more people. So now you can do suggestions, and it will give you some good suggestions. Now this one has 92 million people. The organic food has 320 million. That's too many. Okay, so organic product I would go with. Health and wellness, maybe. That's a big one. What we like to do, here's healthy habits. Let's do this one. Let's see. Natural foods would be good. Okay, so that's that increased it to that amount. Now you can narrow the audience. That means that these people have to have, all the people here have at least one of these interests. Now you can add additional interests, like let's put, let's see. Now see if you did want to do yoga. Let's see what that does. Okay, that dropped it some. You can do it again. You can narrow further. I don't want yoga. I'm not suggesting yoga is a good one. It's not a good one. Let's just do healthy. Type in, see what comes up. Healthy diet. That has a lot of people. Let's do healthy. We already have healthy. We have natural foods, healthy foods. So here's an example of how you would use something like this, where you have healthy habits, but they have to have another one too. They have to have at least two healthy types of habits, or they like organic products, and they also are into, I don't know, let's just, for example, paleo. We use paleo sometimes on some things. These are just some examples of ways you can really target. Now you can also exclude people. Say you don't want people who like McDonald's, which is one of the things that we actually do, right? So take out people who like McDonald's. Let's put in, I don't know, you can put fast food in general, though that's a pretty big one. Too many people are there. Fast food restaurants, you can do that one. That dropped it by about half. So those are just some examples of what you can do to exclude certain people who have certain interests, like maybe smoking or something like that, who may be not very interested in their health. The other thing you can do, now let's go back to radiuses. You can include and exclude. So you can exclude certain zip codes. If there's certain zip codes that they're just outside your area or places that you don't attract a lot of patients from, you can exclude zip codes. In an area like this, 10 miles is typically the furthest we go out. There's a lot of traffic in San Diego, so we typically go even more like 8 miles here. We have another office up here, so we target that area. If you're in a more rural area, suburbia, you can go up to 15 miles, 20 miles even, depending upon where you're at and the topic and how big of a need there is for it. Okay, so that's targeting information. You want to save that and name it. Now, here's the next piece, is you don't want automatic placements, even though it says recommended. You don't want to send to their audience network. That's going to go into all different types of websites that is not going to produce for you. We don't recommend Instagram, and we don't recommend Messenger. Okay. Now on Facebook, you do want that, but here's what we want to do here. We don't recommend that right column. We don't recommend any of these. We just do the Facebook news feed. We've tried all these. We've tested them. We don't do the stories or in-stream search, none of that. That ends up just taking up additional money. So we take all those out and send to just that one audience there, okay? Let's do this up here. Let's just take this out there. Okay, just so it will save it. And then you do want to double check this. Just make sure it's on conversions. Look at this. You do want to change this from 7 days after clicking attribution setting to 1 day. 1 day click. Okay, because that's when people are likely to sign up, and that's when you want to get the attribution in your analysis of your ads. Okay, so that's how you set the audience, or you set the ad set area. This is all ad set information. Okay. Now here's the actual ad itself. Okay. Now it should be connected to your page. Here's my page. So make sure your page is there. Name the ad. You're going to want to. You can do a couple things. You could do a carousel ad, or you can do just a simple image ad here. Primary text. This is where you put the text for the ad. This is where you put the headline. Should be catchy. We like to use emojis there, like to point towards the learn more button too. Short description, don't have to really, a lot of times people don't see that. And then learn more, call to action. And then you put your website for the landing page right there. Make sure it's there, and make sure it's also in your copy, that it's in the primary text here. When it comes to an image, there's a couple of things you can do. If you go to add image, you'll see all your past images, but let's do this. Let me show you. We use Canva. If you're not using Canva, highly recommend you use it. Let me share that screen. Here we go. So Canva is fantastic. It's easy to use. You can be using it for so many things besides just ads. Your social media posts, flyers, brochures, you name it. So here's some examples of our epilepsy ads. So we use right now we use a calendar type approach. We use the time, date. We don't put the location, but we put the time and date, the name of the workshop, with the tagline. We add in person. This is an older image, so it says in person event, and then it has an image related to the topic, right? So here's some examples of types of ads you can run. We've tried images without having the date on it too, and those didn't work as well. But it's super simple to create these. You can get, the great thing about Canva is, and I would recommend getting a pro account, because when you have the pro account, you can use any of the images here. So if I type in epilepsy, right, you can see some of the images that we're using, right? You can use any of these images, and it's like $12.95 a month. It's ridiculously inexpensive. ADHD, you type in anything, like they have so many different types of images here. And the key to successful advertising is to test, right? I would use like 6 images and see which ones do the best, right? And just keep testing. And if you see some that don't do well, take them out of the rotation. Try, and every now and then add a new one in, see how it does, right? And we found that like with something like this, we've actually used this one before. This one did really well. Let's see, am I showing this right now? Oh, I'm not even showing it. Jeez. Okay. Here we go. Let's go back. So the one I was talking about was this one here. So this image right here did really well in terms of registrations, but it also upset some people because here's the thing: marketing should get a reaction. And we stuck with it for a while because it was getting lots of leads. However, it also needs to speak to your target market too. With this particular image, the thought process was, hey, this isn't what all kids with neurodevelopmental challenges look like, and this is please don't put this out there. That type of, we got that message too many times, and one time in particular from a woman who managed a blog that had lots of people who observe and participate in that. She had lots of followers. So we thought, well, okay, so that's when you listen to the market too. You have to listen to it. What is the market telling you on some of these? And that one we decided to move away from it. Something like this one, actually, that might actually work. Let's zoom in a little bit. On an ADHD type ad or a neurodevelopmental one, this one might work because that could speak to a lot of people, a frustrated mom, and at an ABA type therapy, something like that. Anyways, I want to show you that. And because I wasn't sharing my screen, now you can see the images better. We use a calendar. We have the name of the workshop. Pretty simple. But that's why we love Canva and recommend you use it too. Okay. All right, let's go back. I'll hide that screen and go back to this one. All right, so that was how you create your Facebook ads and use create audiences using the conversion campaigns, purchase, objective, or event conversion there, using Canva to create the images, testing like 6 different images. Now you have to monitor the ads. Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm going to show this screen here. I'm going to hide this one. Actually, hide that one. Go back to this one and minimize me. All right, so let's go back here. Let's talk about monitoring ads. I'm just going to close this and go back here. And let's see, who should we take a look at? I was looking at one earlier, so I'll pull that one up. All right, so it's key that you actually monitor the ads and see how they're doing, okay? So we're going to do some quality control, look at, now Facebook will do its thing, but it's also important to do some manual auditing too. So I'm going to go into that and just kind of show you how we do that. So here's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ad sets running. So each of these have different ads inside of it. Okay, so I can see from just a quick, and here's how you change your view here. If you go to customize columns right there, then you will see where you can set your metrics that you want to see. Okay, I'll show you some of the ones, but basically you search for them here, and then you move them over, you rearrange them, you move them around, and you hit apply. Okay. I want to see things like the frequency. How many times are people seeing the ad? Okay. So far in this campaign, people have seen an average of 2.34 times. Results, so in some of these we're going for purchase, others we're going for leads because we're still testing a few of those metrics there. So then I want to see the cost per result. I want to see the cost per purchase because that's a different information. I want to see registrations completed because here's why we do all of these, because attribution is not perfect in the Facebook world right now because of the iOS 14 changes. Okay, so marketers have to look at and analyze and use not just pure analysis, like just the data is the data, but also compare things like, okay, well, and what I mean by attribution, for instance, you're running an ad campaign. You know that you have 10 leads in your lead management system because they're there. But when you look at your ad, it shows only one purchase or only 5 purchases. That means that there's 9 or 5 missing registrations. Well, maybe they might show up in a registration completed column, or they might show up in a lead column. But the thing you also want to look at is how many landing page views. But even landing page views can sometimes be skewed, meaning that the data is not going back to Facebook the way it should because of Apple users and some of the iOS 14 situations. So what you can use as another metric is outbound clicks, because outbound clicks is not sent to Facebook. That is information Facebook knows because the person is on Facebook and they're leaving Facebook. Okay, so Facebook knows that information you can rely upon, and you can look at things like cost per outbound click. These are all great cost per outbound clicks right here. We like to see it in the $2 to $4 range for this. Cost per landing page is typically going to be $3 to $7, somewhere around there. We like to see it 3 to 5 primarily. So let's take a quick look. I'm going to select all these. I'm going to go in, click on ads now. This is going to, I selected all the ad sets. Now we're looking at the ads. Okay, so I'm going to look at a couple different columns. I like to look at the amount spent. Okay, which ads are spending the most money? Okay, I can see that quickly. We can see this one right now is the most popular. And I can look at cost per result. But before I do that, I'm going to look at results in general. This will show us what's getting the most results. So this one has 10, 5, 3, 3, 1, 1. Right? So clearly we see a winner there so far. But then I'm looking at cost per result. Okay, now we see we have 3 at this amount, 3 at this amount. So far, now if I saw one that was at $35, per, then I would turn it off, because I'd rather have one of these other ones and you just turn it off there. I'd rather see one of the other ones do better and get more attention. So then I'm again go back to amount spent. Then I can see things like this, and some of these have already been turned off. Some of it is turned off by having automated rules in place. Others is done manually, because we monitor our ads manually a couple times per day. So I would recommend monitoring your ads at least once a day, or at very least every 2 days. So this one was turned off because it had a cost per lead of cost per landing page view of $7. It had no registrations. Okay, so that one was turned off. That one usually does pretty well. This one, we can see it only had one outbound link click that time, so that one was turned off. Some of these other ones were turned off because, let's see, just the cost per landing page view, because these other ones are better and they're getting purchases. So we just would rather see the money spent there. So that's an example. We do have some down here that they haven't spent much money yet, still only $2. Some of these have been turned off already, but others are still going. So that's what you want to look at. You want to look at amount spent. You want to see, are there any purchases yet or not? How much is the cost per landing page? How much is the cost per link click? And then just turn them off accordingly, like that. Okay. So that's how you want to monitor your ads. Let's see. 1 second. There we go. So analyzing your data. Afterwards, after the event, make sure after all the campaigns are done, make sure you go in and just look at the data, just like we did right there. See which ads are the winners, which ones didn't do as well. And then I would recommend doing, just one time is not enough to get enough data. Do the same ads again, same sort of ads that we just went over, and then take out ones and compare audiences. Which if you're running, I would recommend running 2 different audiences. And see which one did better, which one did worse, and maybe take one of those audiences out, or again, next time just run the same ones, get some more data. That way you can see which images you should take out, which audiences potentially you should take out too. So that's a big part of the overall success, and monitoring it over time, and then realize that some of the images over time might get ad fatigue, and then it's time to change it, like every 3 to 4 months. We typically change every 3 to 4 months. We change images out. We'll change it up that way. All right, so that's how to do the marketing side. Now, don't forget grassroots. Flyers. We use flyers from Canva. We'll put a QR code on that so people can, and we put up those. We'll recommend docs in our office. We'll put them up in places like Jamba Juice, Sprouts, other health food stores, places like that, coffee shops. And we recommend that this is a great way to do it, is just give your staff, if you have a team of 3 to 5 people or more, just give each of them 5 to 10 flyers each time and say, hey, when you're out and about and just doing, going about your errands and day-to-day activity, look for places to put this up. So that's just another way to get people to that. And other grassroots methods would be to network with other like-minded individuals. We talked about how workshops will attract providers and educators, so letting them know when the next event is, sending them your links, sending them the flyer, seeing if they'd be willing to put the flyer up in their office, connecting with influencers on Instagram or Facebook, right? And developing a relationship with them is a great way. So those are just, don't forget the grassroots, because that is a piece that was there before social media and is still there, and highly recommend you don't neglect that. So let's take a look at this next piece here. So here's the homework there. Number one, get a landing page, whether it's through, and yes, you can use Eventbrite. It's not the best way from a marketing perspective. It still will work. Or look at things like ClickFunnels, lead pages. Those are some examples to create your own landing page. Start working on your workshop graphics. Get a Canva account if you don't already have one. Get a pro account because it's a lot easier. And start creating some graphics. Create 6 graphics related to your topic. Make sure you have your Facebook Manager account already set up, and start looking and playing with some audiences and your radiuses based upon the information I shared, and start getting after it. All this can be done. I did this. I'm no different than you. I just had a drive and a why big enough to make sure that I did this, because I had a brand new practice that I was starting from scratch with no budget, very little budget. And so I did it myself. I figured it out. I figured out the algorithm that regularly got me groups of people like this, where we had 15, 20 people, 25 people per workshop. And doctors started asking me how I did it, right? And if I would do it for them. And so we beta tested it in some communities around the country, saw that it worked in multiple markets. And that's when we unleashed the Unraveling Neurodevelopmental Disorders program. I then created the Gut-Brain Connection program, then the Mental Health Matters program, because these 3 programs address the 65% plus chronically ill people in our country, and that's why they're so successful, because there's a lot of people out there. There's no shortage of sick people, and these 3 topics and programs speak to them. So in the last 3 parts here, part 1, 2, and 3, I've given you all the tips, strategies, from creation to promotion to the public speaking elements of it. So you can absolutely do it yourself. Now, here's the thing: we would love to do it for you, and I know that's your time starved. I know that many of you don't have the ability or the time or the desire to build the workshops and to build the autoresponders and to build the landing pages and to build all these elements that go into running a successful workshop program. And so that's why we have our done for you system. Here's what you get. There's currently 6 presentations. They're all professionally made. You get videos of me giving the presentations, videos of me going over the slides. So all you have to do is give us the time, date, and location and just study the material, and you're ready to give the first presentation within a 5-week period. Okay, 4 weeks, less than that with our docs who are coming on in January. Those that sign up now, they're going to officially start in January, and they'll get the content in December. So then they'll be ready to hit the ground running in January. All the email autoresponder sequences, the lead management system all set up for you. So you don't have to do that. There's a closed Facebook group for support. We do weekly office hours, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mondays, so that docs can call in with any and all questions and get additional support for the program or just coaching in general. I've been in practice 20 years, have 2 practices, 2 associates, and with the goal of creating many more practices. So all that support is included. You can give up to 2 workshops per month, meaning our team will create the landing pages, manage the Facebook ads to creation, all of that for you. And you can give up to 2 per month. You pay the Facebook ad spend, right? The social media ad spend, but we manage that all for you. So, and you get exclusivity for your area. You're guaranteed your zip code, but it's more than that. We look at each area and determine whether or not we can bring someone in or not. That's why we have to turn people away. I would highly suggest you take a look at that. At least have a call with us to see how we can help you, and if your market is even available and perfect for this too. So that our ads director can analyze that. Thanks for watching. Here's to reaching more people in your community, to making a huge impact, and to helping your community get the care that they desperately need. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I look forward to being able to help you more in the future. All right, take care.